Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ziprecruiter.com/zip. That's ziprecruiter.com/zip. ziprecruiter.com/zip.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the press. Welcome to a weird week for me personally. We'll get into that in a few seconds. We're going to talk about the Wyndham Championship today. We'll also talk about the AIG Women's Open. We're just going to combine everything into one in just an audio show this week. The reason for that being that my air conditioner went up on Monday, which stunk for Monday and Tuesday. Got it fixed yesterday, so I'm back in my house. Went over to my parents' house and stayed the night. Thank goodness for them being local and nearby. They have me and my wife and our kids on Monday night and Tuesday night. Until late Tuesday night. So, I'm well behind on everything. Fortunately, got stuff out the door on Monday before it kind of all went up. And then Tuesday, was able to get some stuff done at my parents' house, but no place to shoot a video that was not 85 degrees in my house. So, everything's audio. This week, we'll be back to video for the FedEx Cup playoffs. But let's get into the Wyndham Championship. This is an $8.2 million event played at Sedgefield Country Club in Greensboro, North Carolina. This is the final regular season event on the PGA Tour's FedEx Cup schedule, number 36 of the year. So there's 39 events total this year on the schedule. And this is a Donald Ross design, as mentioned. It's basically a 100-year-old golf course. And the unique features about Sedgefield are twofold for me. One, obviously the greens. If you play golf and you don't just bet golf, and you ever played a Donald Ross course, his greens are crazy. Crazy by those standards then. Like the modern design, modern architecture takes those concepts that Ross employed more simply because of the lack of equipment and just kind of blows it up into sometimes into disproportion. But Donald Ross is pretty simple. Don't hit it past the flag. Don't hit it on the kind of outer edges of the greens. A lot of greens play smaller than they look. There's a lot of runoffs. A lot of greens run back to front. If you hit it past the flag, you got a really fast putt coming. So that putting is a big part of this golf tournament. But the other part of it is the Bermuda rough here is no joke. There are a lot of tee shots here where if you're just a few yards off the fairway, you're hacking it out. You may hack it out. And if you play Bermuda grass off enough, that's kind of just general reality. But at the rough of this length for this event, it can be pretty testy. So I don't necessarily think that being accurate off the tee is everything here, but I think accuracy, keeping it in play off the tee, does matter here quite a bit. There are a few holes where you just got a pound driver. They're 500-yard par fours, which are playing downhill, but you just got a pound driver. You don't want to leave a 240-yard shot in if you're hitting up the hill kind of thing. That all said, if you look at kind of the history of this tournament, the profile of the winners, which we will in a little bit, you'll see that being a bomber here doesn't really do a whole lot for you. It doesn't hurt you, but if you look at the history of the winners here, you'll kind of come to understand that. So let's first go over the top 10 in my model for this week. We actually have an interesting top 10 this week. Most weeks it's not that it's boring, but it's just not as interesting because you have the same 3 or 4 guys at the top. Last few weeks have been kind of interesting what the model spits out. Keegan Bradley is number 1 by not a huge margin, but a significant margin over Ben Griffin, who is 2nd, Aaron Rai, the defending champion's 3rd, Max Grayserman is 4th, Hideki Matsuyama is 5th, Lucas Glover is 6th, Bob McIntyre 7th, Matt Fitzpatrick is 8th. Kurt Kitayama, who just won the 3M Open, is 9th. And Alex Noren is 10th. And then you get beyond that. A couple of guys just worth pointing out here. Jesper Svensson rates out very well at 80-1. A lot of people are going to be on Chris Kirk this week, including myself, because he's been playing better lately. Overall, does not rate out very well in the model. He's 94th in the model. However, likes this golf course, has been playing better lately. I'm gonna bet. Some other guys I want to point out. Denny McCarthy has a good track record here, is 16th. Kevin Roy's right behind him at 17th. Jake Knapp, who probably everybody and their mother is going to be on this week, is 19th. He put up a really good fight at the 3M Open, and that second shot into 18, the first one, well, that would have been his fourth shot. His approach shot into 18, the 72nd hole of the tournament, he kind of got screwed there. That was unfortunate for him. He deserved a better result. Really, really, really did. But hey, that's life. That's how it works. So I think a lot of people are kind of looking at him for a bounce back this week. Yeah, I mean, I think all of that's kind of fair. I do think that there is some additional motivation for the top players competing that are on the outside looking in the FedEx Cup playoffs, or the guys that want to go into the top 70 or into the top 50. And you have some of those guys here this week, but that doesn't seem to be a storyline that plays out very well. Just doesn't seem to, for whatever reason. So I don't think that necessarily translates into anything actionable. Okay, so with all of that in mind, let's take a look at the odds table. Matt Fitzpatrick is now the betting favorite at 18-1. I think he was a little bit closer to 20 to start the week. I do kind of get the sense that some people are betting a little bit chalkier just because they kind of feel like, hey, Fitz has played very well recently. He played well at the Rocket Classic. I think that was probably the event where most people who don't pay attention started to think, hey, Matt Fitzpatrick's playing really well. He had been playing well before that. However, it just kind of seems like he's playing this week because he thinks he can win. And I get it. Play while you're hot. So 18-1 makes sense to me. Aaron Rye is 20-1. He's played pretty well. I mean, he's had a good year. A good follow-up to a very strong year last year. Not perfect, not great. He's been okay recently. Again, not great. Him being 20-1 is kind of interesting. This is from the Westgate, by the way. So Jeff Sherman out there, who does a great job with just kind of keeping his ear to the ground on what's happening in the golf world. Keegan Bradley's 25-1. I think a lot of people are going to bet Keegan Bradley. That's a kind of juicy price for a guy who won a signature event, is basically playing to make his own Ryder Cup team, and is playing alongside Ben Griffin, who's going to get a fresh look from the captain about being on the Ryder Cup team. Ben Griffin's 25-1. I have no idea how he'll respond to that. Does he even notice that he has to know he's being evaluated for the Ryder Cup team, right? Like, you have to know that. You were intentionally paired with the captain of the U.S. Ryder Cup team. Do you cower or do you succeed? That's probably your entire thesis about Ben Griffin this week. Bob McIntyre is 30-1. I'm betting Bobby Mack. I think he can win this thing. He's been playing great. No reason not to. Siwoo Kim is a horse for course play here this week at 30-1, but the golf is just not good enough. Spieth's 35-1. Has had some okay work here over the years and much earlier in his career. Hideki is 30-1. Sorry, these are out of order. Hideki's been playing a lot better lately. I mean, I kind of been trashing him from, March until June, even to a couple weeks ago. And he's started to turn it around. It's starting to look more like the guy who won the season opener. So, and he likes this place. Maybe that's a worthwhile bet. I don't love the number. I would love it. 40, it would be an auto bet. 30 is just enough for make me think about it, which is a sign of a good line. Lucas Glover, past winner here, 35-1, sure. Jake Knapp, 40-1. Everyone's going to be on him. Akshay been playing better, 40-1. Kitayama's 45-1 to go back-to-back. Forget it. Harry Hall, 40-1. I do like quite a bit. I think that there is some comparison to be made between here and Colonial in that they're a little tighter than you think off the tee. Well, Colonial, is tight off the tee, but they're tight off the tee. The Bermuda grass from tee to green can be really tricky. It's interesting. I think he's an interesting play. I think he's a worthwhile play. Adam Scott, 45, no thank you. Ricky Fowler, 50, no thank you. Ryan Gerard, 50. I am a Ryan Gerard stan, part because of the name, but also because I'm really high on this guy. He won the BMW Charity Pro-Am, not this year, but last year when he was on the Korn Ferry Tour in South Carolina. Not exactly the same kind of golf course, but similar kind of setup, and he decimated it. I think the confidence of winning the Barracuda goes a long way. I like his chances here. I like Denny McCarthy at 50-1. As long as he keeps the ball in play. I mean, that's really the trick on McCarthy most weeks. And he does have a set of good results here. A couple of top 15 finishes. So I think he's worth a look. You've got Andrew Novak at 55-1. The Postman, JT Poston at 55-1. Sanjay at 55-1. Sanjay's a pass for me until future notice. Just has not been good this summer. Particularly the back half of the summer. You got Max Gracerman at 60. He burnt me last week at the 3M Open where I thought he was due for a great week. He had been playing pretty well. That all said, that means he's going to win. So I'm not betting him, but the cause and effect of, the better's fallacy. Let's see. Christian Bezadenhoyt is somehow 50-1 after coming off a very good Open Championship. I don't know that necessarily translates. Tom Kim, who's won here, is 60-1. He's been playing better. I still don't think he's bettable. Maybe it's 75 or 80. If you can find that number, I bet it. But no. Matt Wallace at 60-1, been playing pretty well. Bud Cauley, 60-1, been over all year. I think this would be a great spot for him to win. Cameron Young, people are on at 61. Please stop betting this guy until he wins a tournament. You're hurting yourself every time you do that. Please stop doing that. Nikolai Højgaard is 55-1. Davis Thompson is 60-1. Pearson Coody is 70-1. Pearson Coody had himself a really nice week at the 3M Open. He's trying to find a way to a PGA Tour card while also playing the Korn Ferry Tour. He basically has to win to get in the playoffs. That's his only path, and he's trying to set himself up for the FedEx Cup Fall if he doesn't get in this week, so he can go play those events because he will get his card almost certainly from the Korn Ferry Tour graduation. But those guys can't go and play in the FedEx Cup playoffs or FedEx Cup Fall unless they get 3-win status, or you already have status. So this will help him. That's why he's doing this. It's why he's not playing the Utah Championship this week on the Korn Ferry Tour. Thor Bjornsson 70-1. Rico Hoey 65. That meltdown's going to set him back a while at the Barracuda. Torbjorn Olesen 70-1. I think is quite interesting. I think he could absolutely win here. He obviously did not have a good Sunday at the 3M Open. Very disappointing. Same thing with Emiliano Grillo. Both very disappointing guys on Sunday. Tony Finau's 90-1. Max Homa's 90-1. I thought Finau would show up better at a place he likes at TPC Twin Cities last week, and he didn't. Tom Dietrich is 90-1. Ryan Fox is 80-1. So you're telling me Ryan Fox, guy who's won twice this year, and he's done it both times on kind of tight golf courses. I mean, I wouldn't say TPC Toronto is very tight, but in places tight. And you're going to tell me he's only 10 points better than Max Homa. That's insane. I bet Ryan Fox out of disrespect. Keith Mitchell's 80-1. Alex Noren, who's doing well in our model, 65-1. Kevin Hughes, 65-1. Those guys are not the same. Chris Kirk's been bet down quite a bit to 80-1. I still think that's a reasonable number. Jesper Svensson rates out well in the model. You guys know I'm high on him. He could be an interesting play here this week. Swedes have done well. Carl Pedersen used to do well in this event a lot. 80-1. Jackson Koivoon rates out very well. It's hard for me to bet on him quite at this point. A lot of people are on Eckroat this week at 80-1. I've seen a lot of Nico Echeverria at 90-1. Sure. I think I would rather go with Matt McCarty or William Mao, and both at 100-1. McCarty's been playing pretty solid golf this year once he figured out the schedule. William Mao had himself a nice week, just like we talked about, after winning the ISCO in a place that's largely separated by water, to go play another place like that. So, all right, I'm willing to ride the wave a little bit. He's got to have a great week to get into the playoffs. I mean, he's got a card because he won, but he has no access to the playoffs right now. So he's got to have a big week if he wants to do that, get a share of that $100 million bonus money. And by the way, you only have to finish in the top 150 if you care about such things to get any kind of payout in the FedEx Cup bonus pool. So there is something to play for this week, even if you can't get into the playoffs. If you can get in the top 150, you can get in the top one anywhere in the top 150, get you some money. So bouncing up gets you some extra cash. There's plenty to play for in that regard. Kevin Roy is 100 to 1. I'm going to keep betting him. Adam Svensson, a lot of people are on him. He's 125 to 1. I saw him closer 150 and 175. I think that's a reasonable play if you're just kind of taking a lottery ticket on a guy who's been playing well lately to do well in this tournament. I can buy that. That's fine. Beyond that, we'll come back to some other guys later. So let's look at, as I kind of move around my tabs, hot hands. Let's look at guys who are playing well recently based on results. Wyndham Clark pulled out, otherwise we would be all over him. Eckroat had a good finish at the Deer, and I think people are continuing to think that that's going to mean something. We've talked about Matt Fitzpatrick been playing great, every reason to like him. Ben Griffin's best finishes are a little bit behind him, so I think I'd be more reluctant to pick him. Nikolai Højgaard played very well overseas. Rasmus not so much. You had Homa play well at the John Deere Classic, but really not much beyond that. Chris Kirk's been playing well. 14th at the 3M Open, runner-up at the Rocket Mortgage. I think there's reason to chase that. Jake Knapp's been playing well. 3rd and the 4th between Detroit and the Twin Cities. Kitayama won, obviously, in Minnesota. He was 5th at the John Deere Classic. Jackson Koivuun is playing well, not denying that. 6th at the Barbasol, 11th at the Deere. I can see reasons to get behind it. People are all over David Lipsky this week with the understanding that, finishing 3rd in the Deere and the 3M Open is a little bit different than the test he'll get this week, but he was bet down from like 300 to 1 to 150 to 1. It's insane, but he is playing well, and I still think it's a somewhat justifiable bet, even at that number, to be honest with you. William Mao, again, 3M Open, Barbasol playing well. And those are really the guys with multiple top 15 finishes the last 7 PGA Tour events in this field, because we had 2 sets of Oppos. Other than that, Echeverria with a 6th in Detroit, I think, is kind of buoying some people. But again, I feel, that does not feel like a very rational bet to me. All right. And then one other guy I want to throw out there, because is he still in the field? Yeah, Brian Campbell is still in the field at 200 to 1. Just saying, this is not a long golf course. He's an extremely straight driver of the golf ball. Maybe might be worth it at 200 to 1. Just throwing that out there. Let's talk about a little bit of championship history. Last winners of this event, last 5 years. You've got last year Aaron Rai, the year before that Lucas Glover, Tom Kim, Kevin Kisner. Man, that's kind of interesting. Jim Herman, JT Poston, Brant Snedeker. We'll go way back. Henrik Stenson, Siwoo Kim. That's that era, basically when they came back to Sedgefield in the last 10 years. Well, it came back in, what was that? What year did they come back? 2008 they came back to Sedgefield. So, look at those winners. None of them are bombers, really. They're all ball strikers, right? They're just guys who are great ball strikers. Snedeker and Poston have some good short games, but Stenson, Siwoo, Jim Herman, unbelievable. He's a 2-time PGA Tour winner. Kevin Kisner, great ball striker and great short game. Tom Kim, it's ball striking that gets the job done here. If you look at the historical record of winners, right? So that, to that end, I think you got to think about that here this week. So, again, I don't, if you're looking to like a guy like Jake Knapp or Michael Thorbjornsen or Luke Clanton, guys who just hit the ever-living hell out of the golf ball, that's, I don't think that's the tell. Let's put it that way. I just don't think that it is. But you do have to keep it in play here. Let's go over to our short-term modeling. I wanted to first point out a couple of guys who are just playing way better than their average recently. not necessarily playing elite golf, but just kind of playing better in the last 10 events versus the last 50 events in strokes gained tee to green. So, again, trying to take putting out of it because putting is a variable skill and can kind of change from grasses and week to week. William Mal's up there. Matteo Manacero is up there. Max Homa is up there, although Max's last 50 were really bad, and the last 10 are marginally okay. Jordan Spieth is playing a lot better lately. Ben Griffin, again, having a career year. Jake Knapp certainly up there. Ben Coles is up there, man. Ben Coles has a decent track record this tournament. I'm really surprised people haven't talked about him more. He's 150-1, so there's someone thinking about him. There's someone that's surely placed a bet on him. But I'm kind of surprised more people are not talking about Ben Coles this week. I saw that looking at this before the show. I was like, I might want to talk about him. Kitayama been playing actually really well in the last 50, but even better in the last 10. Obviously, 3M certainly helps that averaging. Griot, Gracerman, sure. Rico Hoey, that's unfortunate. I'm not going to bet him because of the kind of Sunday meltdown. Doug Gim, certainly in that conversation. And Ryan Gerard has just been steady as it comes. So that kind of justifies a number of the people. But I think that does bring up an interesting longer shot in Ben Coles, who is an absolute wackadoodle, but he could play very well here this week. Let's talk about our top 20 Warriors in the field this week. Guys that have finished in the top 40% of the time in their playing portion of the last 50 PGA Tour events played. We don't have as many of those guys in the field this week, starting at the bottom at exactly 40%. Kevin Roy just fell out of this category because he didn't finish in the top 20 of the 3M. But he's at 38.9%. Then you got Adam Scott, you've got Andrew Novak, you've got Ben Griffin, Denny McCarthy, Aaron Rye at 44%, Harry Hall 44.8%, Keegan Bradley 45%, Bobby Mack 47.8%, and that's your high point. So not a ton of value probably in those guys, but maybe look at an Alex Noren, even a Kevin Roy. I mean, he's still 100-1. You're still going to get pretty commensurate, decent odds on a top 20 finish from him. And then let's talk about some guys with low variance on high strokes gain tee to green averaging. Keegan Bradley, Doug Gim coming up again, Siwoo Kim, Ryan Gerard, Jordan Spieth, Ben Griffin, Bobby Mack, Michael Kim, Bud Cauley. Again, Bud Cauley's not the best putter there's ever been, neither is Michael Kim. Webb Simpson keeps coming up. He was on the other list, and I didn't even want to say his name. Keeps coming up. He's playing okay, I guess. Lee Hodges would be a guy. Hideki would be a guy. Kevin Yu would be a guy for sure. Davis Thompson, Kevin Roy, Matt Wallace. I mean, guys we just keep bringing up over and over again. I mean, if you want like the lowest variance guy, it's Harry Hall. I mean, he doesn't gain crazy numbers, strokes gained tee to green, but they're very consistent. I mean, that's a way to make some money, quite a bit of money on the PGA Tour. So just some guys to throw out there. And then strokes gained first round guys that are of interest in the event. I have to actually update live what I'm going to pull up data-wise here because I had it for last week. I thought I had it already updated. So it'll take a second to spit it out. You can kind of experience the magic of updating databases and queries in real time. But if you look at round one strokes gained in the Wyndham Championship, basically the last 5 years, so we're not looking at guys who just have like 4 rounds. So that would throw a guy like Ben Coles has had a great first round here a couple of years ago. But he has 6 total rounds in the tournament. Thinking about longer term, guys like Adam Scott, Webb Simpson, Matt Kuchar, never betting Matt Kuchar again, Ben On, Andrew Novak, Sanjay, Adam Svensson, good first. If you don't want to bet Adam Svensson to win the tournament, and I wouldn't begrudge you, maybe you bet him first round leader. I mean, of those guys I just mentioned, he's in the top 10. Why not? And he's got 4 tournaments worth of experience under his belt here. Bud Cauley has a decent record here over the years. That could be a way to attack that. You're not going to get a killer price, but that could be a way to attack that as well. So there's a lot to think about related to the Wyndham Championship. we could go on for a little bit while longer, but I do want to do a little bit of AIG Women's Open with you to wrap everything up before we go. So, they're at Royal Porthcawl in Wales. This is the final major of the year. Absurd market up top. Lottie Woad has been bet down from 8 to 1 to 6.5 to 1. I get that she's the hottest female player on the planet right now, and she's won 2 of her last 3 starts, including as an AM by 6. She almost won a major the last time out as an amateur. She won her first professional start. That's still insane. I don't get it. Depends on the weather. If the weather matters, I think you got to look at someone like Minjee Lee, who played very well to win the women's PGA in tough wind. Do you look at like an Angel Yin, who's been bet down pretty significantly, but I think she can handle this format extremely well? Do you look at Aki Uwai, I think is interesting at 50 to 1. I think Mal Saigo's borderline interesting at 50 to 1. Leona Maguire, I think there's going to be she's been bet down quite a bit, actually. That's kind of interesting. A little too much probably to bet now. Do you look at someone like a Lynn Grant, who has handled poor weather very well when she's played in the DP World Tour Scandinavian mixed event that she's won twice? Do you look at that? I think A-Lim Kim is really interesting at 90 to 1. I think Ye-Limi No is also interesting at 90 to 1 because they both have played well in just horrible weather that's windy and gross in Texas. And I think you're going to get horrible and gross weather at times here at Porthcawl. And those were both during times of year where it wasn't warm. It was kind of cold and gross. Austin Kim, for me, will be a bet at 125 to 1. I'm a big believer in her. I'm just going to stick with it. Grace Kim, who won the last majors, 110 to 1. I feel like, not that was a fluke. I mean, she's been playing very good golf, but that was a hell of a situation for that to happen. What about someone like a Shannon Tan, who's been playing extremely well in the LET? I know there's not quite a comparison, but I think her at 150 to 1 is kind of interesting. Alice Walsh was a member and the club champion at Porthcawl. She's from Wales. It's like 500 to 1. I think it would be a really interesting long shot to play here this week. So all of those to consider. Finally, I want to get into the Utah Championship for a few seconds before we get out of here. There's 3 regular season events left. Now we've got 3 guys with 2 wins. Johnny Kiefer, who just won, and he's going to be a superstar. Then you've got Neil Shipley, and you've got Austin Smotherman. So looking at the table this week, Kiefer 16 to 1. They're playing Ogden Golf and Country Club, relatively unknown to me. This has been at Hurricane for a while. It's not there anymore. Taylor Montgomery 22 to 1 is quite interesting to me. He does seem to play. He's played well in this event in the past, although at a different venue, and he's been playing pretty well, going back and forth between the PGA Tour and here. Zach Bouchot at 22 to 1. He's been playing great lately. Could have had him at a better number last week. Had a chance to win, just didn't. Adrian Dumonte Chessart, who's going to get a card, 25 to 1. I think is kind of interesting. Austin Hitt at 35 to 1 is mildly interesting to me. I'd rather bet Emilio Gonzalez at 35 to 1. Cooper Dossie's been playing better. 50 to 1 is kind of interesting. Beyond that, I mean, you don't have Shipley and you don't have Smotherman. So you've got a little opportunity here to potentially do something, gain some big points. Alvaro Ortiz at 90 to 1, I think is worth a consideration. Beyond that, if you want to take some like mega deep shots, maybe a Blaine Hale Jr. at 175 to 1 could get your attention. All right, that's going to do it for us this week on the press. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. Weird week with the air conditioning stuff and not being able to use my home studio. So I appreciate you listening and checking out the show. If you got any questions for me, email me, ryan@thegolfnewsnet.com. I'm on all the social media services at either Ryan Ballingy or Ryan Ballingy Golf. You can join Golf News Net for $40 for a year, $70 for 2 years, or $100 for 3 years at golfnewsnet.com. You can watch the show when we do the video version over on Golf News Net TV, which is available on Freecast, Zeem, Free Life Sports, Distro, and our apps for the Golf News Net app for Roku and Amazon Fire. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck with all your bets this week. Let's kick it off in the playoffs next week, and hopefully you have plenty of bankroll after a winning week this week. We'll see you soon.